Certainly so. Yeah, thanks, Laura, for that input. So now I'm going to turn it over to Laura for a pray in.
Thank you. Oh, and I just settle into this wonderful space where God is. That presence and power that fills everything, that creates everything, that is the foundation of life, that is life. That unknown and yet known presence that fills all that is. It is what lives within me, breathes as me. I am that I am. And I know that each one of us here is a unique expression of the divine. And as we come together to share this service, to enjoy our community, we are all uplifted and all present, enjoying this time together, being uplifted by Barnsley's message, knowing that everything is always in divine order. This is a time of connection and community, and I'm so grateful to have this time. I'm grateful to know the bountiful expression of God here with us now. I'm grateful for life. And knowing that every word I speak in this place of God is powerful. I just let it go, knowing that it's already done and everything is complete. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Laura, for that wonderful treatment. And so we are so fortunate this morning, folks, to have Dr. Barnsley Brown from Chapel Hill with us. Barnsley, I know, clapping. Barnsley first came to Open Door several years ago, and she tends to come sometime toward the end of the year on the Christmas holidays, and I happened to be speaking somewhere else, so I missed her. And then she got in touch with me and said, hey, I'd like to speak at your center, but I only come to the mountains, you know, this like particular time in December. And I was like, okay, well, then you guys, Zoom happened, and look, here we are. Look at the amazing and wonderful things we can bring forth, given that now we can connect from all corners of the globe. It's just really exciting. So again, as I mentioned, Barnsley lives in Chapel Hill. She's a teacher, a trainer, a presenter, a storyteller, and a coach. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Barnsley. Take us away. Thank you.
Daughter and I came, am I unmuted? Good, okay. My daughter and I came several years ago to Open Door, and it was funny because I spoke with Barbara because we went to the old place, right? We went to the old location, and she actually got us there and got us there on time, pretty much on time. So we've enjoyed coming and worshiping with you the last few years when we come to the mountains. And it's beautiful to be with you here today. So am I the only one who, when you feel the Holy Spirit, you sometimes get teary? No, right? I feel that this morning. I feel it this morning. I feel the Holy Spirit, and I'm having some allergies, but I'm also feeling teary. And so I'm going to bring you the real today, just the real, if that's okay. And if we need to cry, we do it. We just release it because the planet has been crying. Have you noticed? Lots of rain. The planet has been cleansing, and we are cleansing right now. We are cleansing. We're cleansing out what hasn't been working. We're cleansing out thinking we're number one and going after things. We're cleansing out. Everything is being stripped away. Have you noticed that? Everything is being stripped away so that we can go deep inside and we can find what is ours to bring forth. So I want to start with a little story, and that was August 2000. I was back in Chapel Hill. It was August 2000. I had been teaching at Wake Forest before that, but I had come back to Chapel Hill, and I had been offered the tenure track job of my dreams. And the fellow who had been confused, have you ever run into one of those? And walked out, right? Because he was confused, showed back up on my front door, and I had the tenure track offer on the same day. And I turned both down. I turned both down. There was a lack of integrity in the way the offer had transpired, and I just was tired of that in academia. I was tired of that power mongering. And I knew also that if I were going to have someone beside me, other than my furry friends, I would want them to be beside me and not get confused, right? Confusion happens sometimes, but hey, it was a hard time, you all. It felt like a wilderness. I would go across the street to the gym, and I would get on the treadmill, and I would tread, I would run, and I would walk. And sometimes I would cry. And I'm sure they would say that summer that, oh, there's that treadmill crier coming in again. Seriously. But that's what I would do. And exercise is good for releasing endorphins, and it helped keep me going, you know? It was a hard time. It was a wilderness experience. I felt like the things that I had been going for were being stripped away. Were being stripped away. Well, the good news is, out of that wilderness experience was born Spirited Solutions, which has been my business for 20 years now. And it's a business of the heart. Every day that I work with people and do Reiki trainings and present, I get to be in what I love. And all of that would never have happened without the wilderness. So today I want to speak a bit about that wilderness experience for all of us. And I think right now, actually, in COVID-19, we're having a collective wilderness experience. You know how Jesus went into the wilderness for 40 days, right? And after being baptized by John the Baptist. It's interesting because the New Testament was written in Greek, not Hebrew. And the word used for wilderness is usually eremos, E-R-E-M-O-S, eremos, or eremia, E-R-E-M-I-A, which is an isolated place. That's the word used for wilderness, an isolated place. Where are we now? We're in, many of us, an isolated place. We're speaking on Zoom. Maybe we're saying hello to the neighbors, but we are in a more isolated place than ever before. And this is so beautiful because we're being given time. We're being given no distractions or very few distractions so that we can truly sit with ourselves. Have you noticed this? Has everybody noticed this? To be with ourselves in a way that we haven't before. So the things we've been running from, maybe the grief we've been running from, is coming up for healing. Maybe the people that we've been running from, anybody have some of those in your family? Know what I'm talking about? We're getting that opportunity to do some healing. And I can tell you one of the biggest things that has happened during this time is I was able to reconnect with my brother. And that has been huge. Yes, thank you, Linda. Yes. And my brother has a lot of mental challenges and a lot of physical challenges. And it has truly been a challenge maintaining that relationship. It is a relationship where I get to be in that spot of, you know, what would the divine do? What would the divine do here? And I get to be the one who is the peacemaker. If I want that relationship to be, I get to be the peacemaker. So we are being called right now in our wilderness to come in contact with the devil, which metaphysically is our thoughts, Our crazy thoughts, our thoughts about sense consciousness, you know, what we need for this and that, for our senses. We are being called to look deeper into our souls, beyond those crazy thoughts. And I've sometimes described them as squirrels in my head throwing knives at each other. Yeah, seriously, it's like this whole pack of squirrels and they're up there going, choom, choom, choom. You know, the monkey mind, as we say in Buddhism, the monkey mind. Now's the time that we get to scratch the monkey mind on the head and say, hey, you don't run the show here. You don't run the show. The show is run by my divine consciousness. My divine consciousness is way larger than you, monkey mind, and you will not run the show. So the real adversary that we confront in the wilderness really is that adversary, that devil of those thoughts that are keeping us imprisoned. And I want you to think for a second, what is a negative thinking pattern that you have that keeps you imprisoned in an old view of yourself? Think for a second about that. I'll tell you one of mine, and I think some people here will identify with this. The idea that my value is determined by what I do. My value is simply being here, present, breathing. That's how loved we are. Our value is not about what we do. It's not about what we say. Our value is in simply breathing and praying, doing spiritual treatments, doing affirmative prayer. Our value is there. There's a wonderful formula that I love. It's called be, do, have. You might have heard this before. And by the way, I'll tell y'all, I'm really off script of what I had thought I was going to speak to you about, because Divine Spirit's like, yeah, you're going to talk about this. Be, do, have. And that's the idea that our being comes first. It is from our being, which is our connecting with divine presence, that everything else in our life emanates. So when we are in that state of being and we connect, we take time to connect in meditation and prayer and treatments. When we do that and we do it consistently, and for me it's Reiki every morning, 26 years of Reiki every morning, including this morning. When we take time for our spiritual practice, then all the doing comes from there and all the having comes from there. And there's no need to effort. So maybe the wilderness isn't a wilderness. Maybe the wilderness is that place of connection. Maybe the wilderness is that single focus on divine consciousness. What if we reimagine it that way? I'm getting the Holy Spirit chills when I say that. What if we reimagine the wilderness as the space of possibility, the space for us to be in touch with our divine consciousness? So in the wilderness, Jesus was fed by certain fruits of the Spirit. So while you're thinking about that old thinking pattern that's been keeping you imprisoned, that you have the opportunity to release in this wilderness experience, let's also think about the fruits of the Spirit, the 9 attributes of a person or a group aligned with divine consciousness, living in accordance with divine consciousness, expressing divine consciousness. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Let me repeat those, and I want you to think about the ones that you are feeding yourself with during this time. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, which I like to think of as will. W-I-L-L is will, self-control. And I want to focus specifically on joy today. How do we emerge from the wilderness, a feeling of wilderness, of isolation, or of everything being pulled away from us, and we are saying, oh wow, what now? We look for the breadcrumbs of joy. We look for that tiny trail of breadcrumbs of joy, wherever they may show up in your life and my life. So I'd like you for a second, and I always love to be interactive. And by the way, let's use the chat, you all. Everybody knows about the chat, right? At the bottom, you click the chat, and let's use the chat here for this. So I want you to write down 3 activities right now that give you joy. 3 things that give you joy. And just pop them into the chat. Beautiful. We have practicing, playing with my dogs and cat, reading and writing, being still, talking with daughters, being in nature, journaling, SMT, TM, telling cats how wonderful they are, working with affirmations, walking, barefoot on the grass, yes, gardening, playing with my dogs, thinking about Scotland. I love that. Yes, Jenna, I did my master's degree in Scotland, you and me. You know what, I was just reading, I was looking through my picture books of Scotland the other night and having such a good old time. Walking with Fred and Chewy every morning, watching mindless TV, yoga and Tai Chi on Zoom, cat time, reading, journaling, sleep, connecting, being quiet. Wow, what a wonderful list. Feel free to write down some of the other ones that people wrote down that you want to incorporate into your joy. So here's what we're going to do with these. I want you to actually put those into a sentence here, a powerful sentence. And it is, when I do these things, I experience blank. When I do these things, whatever your 3 or more are, I experience blank. And you can just put what you experience up there in the chat. Blissfulness, I love it. Joy, peace, and freedom. Peace and connection. Happiness. A return to my deepest self. Beautifully said. Expansiveness. I love that as well. Peace, joy, stillness, and fulfillment. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a mission statement, because today really is about finding and fulfilling your divine mission. Another part of it that's being revealed during the wilderness. So you will put I in your name, help myself and others experience, and you'll list those things you just put in the chat that are so beautiful: expansiveness, peace, and connectedness, a return to their deepest selves through, all right, I in your name, help myself and others experience peace, joy, stillness, fulfillment, whatever you just said, through ... And just for a second, I want you to close your eyes and receive a new vehicle coming through for you right now. It might be writing, it might be calling people on the phone, it might be online tarot readings, whatever gives you joy. So I, in your name, help myself and others experience the 3 things I said through. And once you receive an answer, don't question it. It came through for a reason. Go ahead and pop that up in the chat. Let's see what came through for you. Group power, the group energy is powerful. Go ahead and put that up. Dancing, speaking, teaching on Zoom. Yeah, speaking's big for me too. Okay. Playing music, gardening, and shop work. I love that, Tom. Awesome. Oh, he just walked away. Okay. You didn't hear me, but that's wonderful. Speaking for different New Thought orgs. Loving myself. It all flows from this. Yes, Laura. And you gave such a beautiful prayer. Your prayer just lifted us all this morning. And I just have to say, if you call people and offer them a prayer during this time, just calling people, somebody every day, oh my lands. Oh my lands. So what we're talking about now is something that we have for ourselves that we love, and we're going to open it and give it to others. Something we love, and we're going to open it and give it to others during this time. Playing more for people, Zooms and Facebook. I love that, Deborah. You play the piano? Yeah? Okay, beautiful. I love that. You can do those house concerts without people in your house. What else do we have over here? Oh, cleaning, cooking, and baking. I need you, Carol Lynn. I need you. Yes. One of the things my daughter and I have been planning is a brownie drop. We're going to make brownies and then drop them for different neighbors. Just drop them off at their house, in other words, because we need to maintain the social distance, but just as a way of, giving some love and some upliftment right now, some joy. All right, you all. Couple of others? Anyone else? Tom, we love yours about playing the music. I don't know if you heard that. Gil and Kay, you got something for us? Not yet. Okay. So sit with that. If something didn't come through for you yet, sit with that this afternoon. And the idea is something that we love for ourselves. We're going to share it out. Because there's something very true that when we want to come out of the wilderness, what do? The first thing we do when we come out of the wilderness, we look for joy, but then we look for what? People to share it with. So how can you share that piece of your joy, that piece of your peace, that piece of your connection to your divine spirit? Now, more than anything, you all, it's really essential that we stoke our joy fire daily. sometimes hourly, stoking our joy fire, and then that we share it out, not in a transient material sense. And there's one last point I want to make, or distinction I want to make. In positive psychology, they talk about pleasures and gratifications. Pleasures are those things that are transient, such as having a nice home-baked cookie, or a nice glass of wine, or, you know, I don't know, some pleasure that is sensory, a good cup of coffee. Yes, thank you, Barbara. I've got mine here too. A good cup of coffee. And those are important. Pleasures are important. We should be giving ourselves sensory, sensual pleasures. That's great. Pleasures end though. The cup of coffee is gone. The cool water is gone out of the water bottle. And it doesn't continue. We've got to have it again down the road. But a gratification is different. The gratification is where we give something to someone else that lasts. For example, that might be reading a book to your grandchildren on Zoom. That's a gratification. That's something that creates a lasting impact. It might be writing a poem for someone in your family. Doesn't have to be a good poem, by the way. Just writing a poem and calling them up and reading it to them about what they mean to you. It might be doing a motivational, I love doing Facebook Lives. It might be giving a motivational story or an inspirational story on a Facebook Live that goes out to all your Facebook friends. It might be creating art and sharing it. It might be that house party, Deborah, where you invite anyone who wants to come and Zoom in and hear you play. It might be Laura doing prayers up on Facebook Live for whoever wants to tune in and ask for prayer and giving those to others. Carol Lynn, it might be offering cleaning to someone who's, let's say, having a health challenge right now, or maybe not COVID, but someone who's having a health challenge and giving them cleaning, a special cleaning, just for them to help them. Maybe they're going through cancer or something like that. It might be just listening to a friend who is struggling. Just calling and saying, hey, how you doing? And really listening with our hearts. So these are gratifications. It might be sending earrings to your dissertation director. That's what I just did. I sent her a pair of earrings through the mail, and she sent me a selfie with them on, and she was very excited. I put a blessing in them because she's always been such a force in my life, even though I haven't talked to her in probably 8 or 9 years. She popped on a Zoom that I was giving, and I was so excited and wanted to send her something as a nice little surprise. So anything that we give that's a gratification will create a lasting effect of joy, positivity, and fulfillment for both us and the other person. And then we turn this experience of wilderness into an experience of connection and joy and purpose. I love this quote. I'll end here. God created 1,000,000 doors to walk through. You are one of them.
Wow. That's wonderful. Thank you, Barnsley. Let's show our appreciation. That was beautiful.
Love y'all
I
too.
feel my fire of joy is fully stoked. Thank you. That's really great. So now I'm going to turn it over to Deborah. I know you are unmuted. She's going to bring us a piece of classical music as an interlude. Enjoy. Beautiful. Thank you, Deborah. That was lovely. That sounds like a real exercise for the hands, too. That's great. Thank you. Okay, somehow something changed here. What happened? Oh, my. All right, so if you would now, we'll take a moment and step into prayer. At this time when we are face to face at Open Door, we send a blessing out to children. Since we began our Sunday services on Zoom, we have extended that to include not just children, but to include every being, regardless of age, location, species. And so in this moment, we just allow love to permeate all that is. We allow love and compassion, support, and connection to reach out, to spread across this globe, to inhabit the thoughts of everyone, every being, every species. We allow harmony, peace, and that incredible joy that Barnsley has supported us in knowing more deeply today, to just embody everyone, everywhere. We feel that globally. We feel that within our hearts and our souls and our minds and our bodies. We just allow that love, that good, to be all that is. In his wisdom, Ernest Holmes shared with us that we will only need a belief in a concept of evil as long as it is needed, as long as it is prescribed to. And so we know in this moment that that goes back to the nothingness from whence it came. We stand in a clarity of harmony, so powerful, so clear, so deep in its wisdom, so pervasive in its presence, that is all there is. And we know that it continues and it continues and it continues forevermore. We see every being, every person, every child, everyone, everywhere lifted in this moment and held in a higher place, a clearer and deeper truth. And so for all of this, for this opportunity to connect on Sundays, how else could this be possible but for the dynamic energies of Source, for the wisdom of Barnsley's words, for the connection that we feel to and through each other. We say yes to all of this. We know that good and very good is here to stay. We see it done. We let this go, and together we say, and so it is.
And so it is.
We're now in August, my friends. This Thursday, we'll start back with our community connections. That's at 8 p.m. Please watch for a link. Given some upcoming changes in Zoom, that will be a new link every Thursday night from this point forward until late September. In late September, Zoom is instituting some major changes. So if you don't use this platform much, my encouragement is that by the middle of next month, you be sure that you're going online early for our Sunday services so your system can be fully updated. You can download anything that needs to happen. essentially Zoom will be requiring people to go into a waiting room before they can be admitted to an activity. And that will be a mandatory stance from at least my understanding. So just be aware that that's coming up. Zoom continues to work on its platform and on increasing its security measures, and that is part of one of those. So I want to thank all of you who reached out and supported us financially so very well during the month of July. I'm really, really just warmed and thrilled and astounded that we continue to be able to fully support our landlord in paying rent on our facility where all of our belongings are. And that includes our new piano that is going to get one heck of a break-in one of these days. So I don't think we really had a chance to even get that going good before things happened with COVID. We continue to make payroll. We continue to pay our speakers. You know, from that standpoint, things are good. And please hear me when I say that I really appreciate it. I in all honesty, never in my wildest dreams really believed that you know, could happen. And it has, and it continues to. And I am deeply appreciative. We're a small community with not really too many who give on a real tithing type basis or who are able to do that. And so, you know, at times over the years, it's been a very interesting thing to watch us continue to unfold in presence. I have the firm and deep belief that Spirit wants us here, or this wouldn't have happened a long time ago, to be honest. If you wish to make a donation, you can go to our website. That is findadeepertruth.org. Click on the donate button, scroll to the bottom. You can read that information on that page. It's pretty good stuff. I know, I wrote it. You can click on donate. That will allow you to make a donation either through PayPal or by credit or debit card. You're also welcome to mail a check or money order if that works better for you. The address is Open Door, CSL, 30 North Ridge Point, apartment T5 in Sylva, North Carolina, 28779. And I believe everyone here gets my emails. If you didn't get that or you need for me to reiterate it, just shoot me an email or put something in chat here in a moment. What else are we doing? I think that's all I have to say. So I am going to turn it over to Carol to pray us out. And after that time, we will stop the recording and we will allow folks to unmute themselves and we will have us a big old fine chat. Thank you everybody for being here on Sunday. Thank you for supporting our center. I love you guys. Carol.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and just take a deep, deep, deep cleansing breath, knowing that you are supported by Spirit, the source of all that is. And know with me that this week, each one of us makes a clear and definite choice to listen clearly to the voice within. When we go to that still, peaceful place to commune with our higher self, we truly listen. And what we are listening to and for is Spirit guiding us, telling us what is mine to do. What is mine to do? I move forward in this week with the kindness and gentleness of my soul, to myself, to others, to those around me, those I love, those I know, and those I don't know. And I move forward with whatever Spirit is guiding me to do. I move forward. I move my feet. And it is with clarity and love and joy that I accept this responsibility that I have to myself and others. I just allow it to permeate my thoughts, and I move it from thought to deed. And I say thank you to Spirit for this guidance, for this teaching, for this knowingness, for this center, for Reverend Barbara. And I just say thank you. And knowing it is done, I just release it to the law. And together we say, and so it is.
And so it is.